we're going to talk all things like why you're still in pain, even after physical therapy, even after chiropractors, even after YouTube fixes, okay? If you have questions, I will answer them all at the end, okay? So, you've probably tried chiropractor, foam rolling, stretching, physical therapy, YouTube videos, dry needling, all that, and you're still in pain. So why? So one of the things that I truly, wholeheartedly, I believe it more than I believe my own freaking name. If you don't get to the root cause of your pain, you are going to continue to have pain. Everything else is just a band-aid fix. Everything else is just bullshit, to be point blank. So it is not because you are broken. It is because probably the system's broken, right? If you are still in pain, you did not get to the root cause of your issue. I truly believe that everybody has a solution to their pain. It is just whether or not you've actually found it or not. And so, if you have pain, here's what we want to do. We want to actually get to the root cause, and we do that by looking at your movements in the gym. Most physical therapists, most medical professionals don't actually look at your movements in the gym, right? It's not something that we're taught in school. Most people don't even know what the hell a squat is, okay? It's just kind of the unfortunate part of the medical system. So if you're having, we'll say hip pain, okay? If you're having hip pain with a squat and someone just lays you on a table and does a few movements, well, that's probably not going to translate to why you're actually having pain with squats. Most of the time, what I see is it is coming from a joint above or below. So we just talked about the hip. We can talk about the back for this. That's probably more common. So people who have back pain likely have problems with their internal rotation in their hip, or they have something going on at their ankle. There's likely something going on that's causing them to have pain in the squat. And so what we want to do, what I like to do, again, the only thing that I truly believe in is we want to zoom out so that we can zoom in. So we want to find the root cause, and in order to do that, we want to take a wide approach and see what's the back doing, what's the hips doing, what is the knee, the ankle, what are all those joints doing? Heck, I've even looked at someone's shoulder, because if you look at their squat, one shoulder is super rotated in and the other is out like this. And so that will actually impact how you're moving through that squat, okay? That can impact your back. So we want to zoom out so that we can zoom in, and then we can zoom in on what the actual problem is. This allows us to actually fix the problem instead of just constantly put band-aids on things. So I've worked with probably 400 or 500 people at this point, and I would say probably 80 to 90% of them have already worked with someone else and quote unquote failed rehab. And it's not because their case is so complicated. It's not because they're broken. It's not because they just automatically need surgery. It is because people aren't getting specific enough with the assessments. We want to look at the things that are actually causing pain, not just some random bullshit exercises or movements that don't actually translate to the gym. So we want to actually make sure that we're, testing the thing that is actually hurting. And so, again, I've had so many clients, so many athletes that have come to me thinking that they are broken, they are not fixable, thinking that they just failed PT or chiropractics or massage because they were just super screwed. That's not the case. We want to get to the root cause of the issue. Most people, they like to try common things like foam rolling, the chiropractor crack and go, random Instagram mobility drills, YouTube videos, ice baths, massage guns, passive bullshit exercises that don't actually do anything. And what happens is a lot of times people will do this. They'll go to a PT or a chiropractor that doesn't understand lifting. They've never lifted a day in their life and wonder why they're still in pain. And it's because people who lift, it is such a dynamic movement, compared to just your Aunt Betty walking down the freaking street, or walking the dog, or picking up the cat, or whatever, or driving a car. Like, those movements are so different compared to what we're actually seeing in the gym, because there's so many joints involved that a lot of times if one area is not moving the way we want it to, then that is going to automatically put more stress and strain on a different joint, okay? So the things I mentioned earlier, they're not necessarily bad things. They can feel good. And heck, I've even used some of them with my clients, with my athletes, because they can help get the pain down. But again, like, if that's all you're doing is just trying to eliminate the pain and not actually fix the problem, then you're just going to continue to have pain until you actually fix the problem. I've had people who, they literally go and get cortisone shots and it didn't help, which I'm not a fan of cortisone shots anyway, but they went and got them and then they wonder why, they're still in pain, why it didn't work. And it's because, yeah, you might have had pain here, but the problem was coming from here or here. And so you didn't actually fix the issue. You just put a bandaid on the symptoms. It's like going to a mechanic, right? And you're like, hey, it's making this noise right here. Okay, well, they just slap something on it, send you on your way. 5 miles down the road, the car breaks down because they didn't actually fix the problem. They just slapped a Band-Aid on the thing that was making the noise, right? Are you following me? Okay, so again, a lot of times we want to actually look at what's going on under load with a movement instead of just having you lay on a table and do some kind of BS joint assessment. Now, I will say, I like to use those movements on a table, on the ground, whatever, because we can actually translate to what's going on dynamically in the movement itself. And so if I see something going on in a squat, in a deadlift, bench, jerk, whatever movement we're looking at, I can break it down joint by joint and see what's actually going on that could be causing that. But again, if someone's back hurts and you're only looking at the back, that's why most people are failing PT or chiropractor or whatever. It's because it might not be a back issue. It might be a hip issue. It might be an ankle issue. And so we want to make sure that, we're actually addressing the root cause. We're wanting to make sure that we are getting a thorough movement assessment done. Okay. I can tell you case study, case story, whatever you want to call it, but it really comes down to getting a thorough assessment. And I think I will actually say one of the case studies. One of my clients, he is an Olympic weightlifting coach at a college. Very smart dude. His training knowledge is like top notch. He was having shoulder pain and he's like, man, I've tried like banded exercises. I've tried all these things. I just don't know what to do. So I was like, okay, let's take a look. We talked. We found out like normal snatch killed him. Power snatch was okay. Well, in my mind, the only difference between a power snatch and a snatch, not the only difference, but in this context, the biggest difference is he wasn't getting all the way down. He wasn't breaking parallel. He was staying above parallel, right? Power snatch. And so we actually, again, zoomed out so we could zoom in. And what we found is, I think it was his left shoulder. This has been, he's graduated and everything like that. I think it was his left shoulder. And we found that the ankle and the hip on that side, they were completely stuck, right? Compared to the other side. They were a lot more limited. They weren't moving as well. And so we didn't really do anything on the shoulder. We zoomed out to zoom in and we worked on the ankle mobility. We worked on the hip mobility. And guess what? Shoulder pain went away. He went on to literally hit some PRs during our program, smoked it, went to nationals, crushed it. It was fantastic. But that's where most people would probably fail that guy, is because they wouldn't look at the ankle, they wouldn't look at the hip, they'd only be focused on the shoulder.